What was the story? What
All right,
precipitated you showing up at some guy's house with a can of bear spray?
Yeah, so it's bear repellent. It's basically like a pepper spray fire hose, right? And so there's a guy. Look,
Isn't it true? Hold on. Isn't it true you can't sell pepper spray in New York, but you can sell bear spray?
What it is you can't like buy it through the mail. Now it wasn't always the case. Pepper spray used to be illegal. Now it's legal, but you can only buy it from an FFL. Now, right?
In New York.
Right. So and you can't have a stun gun at all unless you're a cop. I actually have a misdemeanor weapons charge.
What if I come into New York with pepper spray? Is that legal?
Yes.
Okay.
But you can't have you can only have OC, you can't have CS. You can't have like tear gas. Like
Okay.
you can buy self-defense sprays here in New Hampshire that have CS tear gas in them. You can't have that in New York. You can only have OC pepper spray, and there's a specific warning that has to be on the label. So, I mean, generally speaking, I mean, I've gotten caught with CS in my pocket in New York, and cops have let me go because they're just like, okay, it's pepper spray, whatever,
yeah.
and they don't know any better. But there are some regulations surrounding it. But you can buy even on the internet. There's no restriction on you buying like dog repellent or bear repellent, right? And so I wanted to buy pepper spray on the internet. I found out it was illegal and that they wouldn't ship it to you, but they would ship you bear repellent. And so I've had this can of bear repellent for quite some time, and it's like I said, it's like a pepper spray fire hose. It's some really nasty stuff. And so I keep this with me in my vehicle. Mm-hmm. It's the best weapon that I can legally carry in New York State.
Yep.
Okay. And so there was an incident with a gentleman. A little backstory, like, look, I haven't always been a libertarian, all right? Mm-hmm. I used to initiate a good amount of force. I was a bad guy. The first time I got locked up wasn't for being a good guy, and I ran around with bad people.
Yep.
And one of these people who I ran around with made a threat against me on the internet. He
Recently?
Said,
like 2 years ago, a year ago?
Yeah, within the last 2 years, year and a half maybe, not even.
When was the last time you encountered this guy prior to this?
Prior to this, the last time I encountered him? I think I actually drank with him within the last 6 months before this happened.
All right, we'll get into the story here, what it was that precipitated the threat and the response. It's Free Talk Live. We were talking about...
Okay, so we were talking about running after idiots with fire hoses and pepper spray.
So you were a bad guy at some point in the past.
I was like, we were like the nefarious drug dealers, right? So like, look, I lived in a drug house. I ran around with bad people. We robbed other drug dealers. We did bad things, okay? We were involved with bad people. And one of the guys who I was involved with back at that time, I had like, he ended up dating a girl who I was still talking to, and then the girl was like, "Oh, you come hang out with us?" And then I ran into this guy maybe 6 months before this incident, and then they had created a joint Facebook profile. Is what set this off, right? And I just thought it was so corny, And
did they combine their names together as well?
Yes, exactly. And it was just the cheesiest thing. So like, I took a screenshot of it and I posted it on Facebook, and I made fun of these people who were at one point my friends, right? The girl got very upset about it and was going to her boyfriend like, make him take it down, make him take it down. And I was like, well, I'm not taking anything down, no. And then he devolves into threats, and he says the next time he sees me, he's going to F me up.
Okay.
Now, in my neighborhood and the people that I used to deal with, that's a very serious problem, because we used to tell people, next time I see you, I'm going to F you up.
You believed
and guess
him.
what?
Yeah.
We F'd him up.
Yeah.
We put people in hospitals and stuff. So
you didn't think he was just talking as you
No,
believed him.
he didn't. And he associates with bad people who would love to come after me still to this day. So the fact of the matter is, I was like, look, this guy thinks that he's going to come after me. I'm going to go head him off at the pass and remind him that, like, if you jump me on the street when you're by yourself, I show up at your house when you don't have your friends around. And so sure enough, I did. I showed up at his house, and all of a sudden, he wasn't really too interested in the confrontation, and I made a whole bunch of noise out in front of his house. And he came outside, and when he came outside, he had a hockey stick, and he lifted up the hockey stick. I came up without anything in my hands. I had the bear spray was in my jacket pocket, my inside jacket pocket. He brought up the hockey stick to swing the hockey stick at me, and I pulled out the bear spray, and I pointed at him. I said, "You're an effing tough guy, huh?" And he ran back in his house. So this is, in my book, this is classic case escalation of force. This guy makes a threat. I confront the aggressor. The aggressor pulls a weapon. I pull a superior weapon. The aggressor retreats, and I let the aggressor retreat. I didn't spray him. I didn't attack him. I didn't continue the conflict after that. I put the guy in his place, and the problem was solved.
That's good. Because some would say that you would have. Like the people that read your articles would have thought that you would have just gone ahead and, waha, got a chance to spray someone. Because, you would have been justified, right? He had a hockey stick. He was threatening you. I mean, in theory, you would have been justified in using the bear spray, right?
Exactly. So the situation was...
So you de-escalated, sort of, that situation.
No, I escalated the conflict until he didn't want it anymore.
I see.
And that's sort of, look, there's a lot to be said for de-escalating conflicts. Yeah, exactly. But there are people who will, escalate the conflict until you respond to it, right? Mm-hmm. And these are some of those people that I know from New York, okay, that we would escalate a conflict, almost indefinitely until the one party was just too scared to go along with it any longer, right? And so I will, depending on the situation, I'll over-escalate a conflict to the point where somebody's just like, this guy's insane, and they'll walk away from it, and I've had a great deal of success doing that, So.
I think it's an interesting story.
And in other cases, the thing is, for example, here, I can carry a gun, right? So if somebody tells me, somebody says, next time I see you, I'm going to F you up. And I'm going to be like, good luck with that, pal. If I think that there's some kind of killer, if I think that they're going to pull out their 45, behind my back, I might treat it differently. But, for the most part, if somebody's going to challenge me to a fist fight or something like that, I'm really not too concerned about it, pal, because, my revolver will end a fist fight rather quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.